this is going to take your focus off of the person and the thing, yet at the same time maintaining a new story. So in this video, I'm going to be giving you an equation or a formula, if you want to call it, that is not only going to help you in keeping your mental diet, but also going to obviously help you in creating or manifesting what you want to manifest. And I figured this, or kind of came up with this equation a year ago, and I used it for something that I was struggling with when it came to keeping a good mental diet, and I was struggling when it came to focusing on what I wanted to focus on and just changing my beliefs about my own self. Also, before I move forward with this video, because I always forget to mention this, I have recently launched my own website, and I am also offering one-on-one coaching, one-on-one email coaching. For now, I'm not offering video coaching. So even though I really believe you do not really need any help, and all the videos that I've posted on my channel are way more than just good enough to actually help you out to manifest what you want to manifest. But still, if you feel like you need a little bit of hand holding in your journey, you can always reach out to me and always book a one-on-one coaching with me. I'd love to help you out. So now I'm going to quickly show you the equation, and we will go part by part, and I'll explain you guys what that means and what it actually targets, the common reasons people are not able to manifest fast, or people are not able to keep a mental diet. All right, so let's just look at the equation now. All right, so the first part of the equation, this is the whole little formula I came up with, and the tip here is to making it all about yourself. Now, the first part of this equation is accepting new state plus changing your perception and observation of either a specific person, if you're manifesting a specific person, or a thing that you're trying to manifest. Now, it can be a job or money or whatever. Now, in this part of the equation, I'm going to explain how you actually make it about yourself. The next part is doing it to show yourself love and respect, and we do this to take away our focus off of the physical realm. Plus, complete knowing and understanding that that's how manifestation works, that's how creation works, meaning a knowing within you that your physical life, your reality, is just a mere reflection of who you are. Having that as a knowing is really important in this whole formula. Now, in this equation, what I'm really doing is I'm really just targeting the pain areas, the pain points everybody goes through or experiences when it comes to manifesting something in their life. So there are three major reasons as to why sometimes people are not able to keep a strong mental diet or manifest what they want. And the three major reasons are, first of all, they're not able to accept the new story about themselves. Second is, sometimes they end up, when they are affirming about the thing or the person, they end up actually making it about the person rather than understanding that it's not about them, it's just about you. And the last thing which I see happening more often, which also happened with me, was constantly checking to see any evidence, constantly seeking that validation from my physical reality if what I'm doing is working or not. So this formula in it all, in its entirety, just targets these three major pain points that I know for sure everybody goes through. So I'm just going to go over each and every part of this equation one by one and explain to you how you actually apply it. Now, the first part of the equation was accepting your new self, the new version, the new beliefs that you're trying to create about yourself. So if you're coming from the belief that I am not good enough, I'm not worthy enough, and you're moving towards way more than just good enough, I am worthy of what I want. Sometimes it gets trickier to do that because you've been living your life as being this unworthy person, and you have plenty evidence of that also, so it becomes really, really hard. So a loophole, kind of a loophole that I found to finally accept your new version is to realize that you were born a god. So if you accept the fact that you are God, then accepting the fact that you are naturally worthy, you're naturally good enough, you're naturally loved, is going to be much easier. But even if you're not able to accept the fact that you're God, still just think about this. When you were born, when you were a little child, when you were a little kid, just look at that little kid and just ask yourself this: what makes this little kid unworthy? What makes this little kid unloved, not good enough? Nothing. We all are innately loved, worthy, good enough for everything that we want to experience. So there's no work that you need to do to get to that point. You're already that. So let's just say this is you. This is the version of you who believes he or she is worthy, good enough, loved enough, and everything good. All right. Now you were born like this. All right. And when you came on this planet in this human body, what happened? Society started distracting you. So your focus moved from who you really were to what society wanted you to believe you are, if that makes any sense. So your disbelief in yourself is nothing but an illusion, is nothing but a distraction from who you really are at the core of your being. So when you're working on your self-worth issues, there's no work required to do. The only thing you need to do is to accept that I was actually born worthy. I was actually born loved. That's it. Just accept that fact. You are that right now. There's no work you need to do to get to that point. So the little loophole or little workaround, that first part of the equation, is to just accept the fact that you were born that way. It's not that you are going to affirm your way into becoming your new state of being, becoming this new version who believes they're worthy. No, you're just accepting the fact that you were born that way. And when you accept that I was born this way, so I really don't have to constantly remind myself that I'm worthy, then the whole illusion of, oh, I'm at point A and I want to be at point B goes away, because now you've accepted that that's who you are, right? That's the easiest way to kind of accept that I'm already worthy, I'm already loved right now, all right? Now, that is not enough, and I know that. Why that is not enough? Because now your mind has learned to show up in this unworthy way, to show up in this unloved, I'm not good enough for anything kind of way, and to also then think about people around you from that very belief. The story you tell about people around you, the story you tell about, let's just say, money, job, or anything that you're trying to manifest, always is coming from the story you're telling about yourself. So now that we have covered what story you're telling about yourself by just accepting the fact that you were born that way, now we still have to help our minds into changing how it observes people around it, how it observes money, how it observes whatever it is you're trying to manifest. And here comes the second part of the equation, which is changing your perception and observation of them, and yet making it about yourself. What does that even mean? Like, how can I change my perception about somebody else and then make it about myself? I'm just going to show you how. Now, let's just say this is you and this is them, all right? And you are telling a very specific story in your head subconsciously about them, which is, he or she is not interested in me. Now, this is a perception you're holding about them, all right? This is how you are observing them. But you're not observing them this way because that's who they are. You are observing them that way because that's who you are. What does that mean? This statement right here says a lot about you than it says about your specific person or money or job or whatever it is you are focusing on. But how? Let's just look at this. Let's just say this is the story and the perception you have about your person. He's not interested in me. She's not interested in me. It's always coming from a story, very subconscious story you're telling about yourself, which is, I'm not good enough. This is not coming because that's who they are. It's just coming from your belief, I'm not good enough. And whenever you are becoming aware of such a story about your person, you're indirectly affirming to yourself that I'm not good enough. All right. So even your perception about a person, money, thing, or whatever it is, even your perception is silently, very subconsciously affirming something about you, always. So right after changing the story about yourself, accepting that you are worthy, now you're gonna have to change the perception and the observation you have about that person. And that's where a lot of coaches online teach you to affirm about your person. But the thing is, when you make it about them, when you are just mindlessly affirming about your person, yes, by doing that, you're changing the story about them. You're changing your perception of them. You're changing how you observe them. Yes, but what happens is, if this concept is not clear as to why we are doing that, what's going to happen is that the whole thing is just going to become about them. And what it does is it actually puts that person or that thing on a pedestal. And what starts to happen is your entire self-worth starts to depend on this new version of them. As in, I'm only worthy if they show up in this way. Because you're constantly, changing your thoughts about them. Then what is happening is you're really just focused on them. You're really putting them on a pedestal. All right. So that's why a lot of the times when people are changing their thoughts about the other person, money, job, or whatever it is, it's not working out, because when your focus is on them that way, it just puts them on a pedestal. When you put them on a pedestal and you keep on reciting that story in your head, is what's going to happen is you're going to look for evidence, and you're only going to feel good about yourself if they actually show up in that certain way. That's why it's really important to understand what we're really trying to do here and why we are doing it. All right, that's why I showed you guys that even this new story that you're telling about that specific person or money or job, it's not really about them, it's about you, because the story always comes from your limiting belief, your deep-seated belief, just how I showed you guys here. So what's going to happen in this part of the equation is that now that you understand this concept, now that you understand that how changing your perception and observation about a person or money is not really about them, it's just about you, what it's going to do is it's going to really just take your focus off of them. It's not going to put them on a pedestal, yet you're actively going to help your mind into changing that perception. Why? Because we want to make sure that with every thought we think about a person, money, job, we're going to make sure that through that very specific thought, we are affirming something really positive about ourselves. All right. So for this instance, in this example, let's just say if your story was, he's not interested in me, and now you're telling a new story, he's really interested in me. What is that really saying about you now? When you say he's interested in me, what you're indirectly affirming about yourself is, I'm an interesting person, I'm amazing, I'm way more than just good enough, I'm the best. That's what you're really affirming about yourself. So now what you're going to do here in this part of this equation is, whenever you're changing the story about them in your head, because you're going to have to do that because your mind is used to thinking a certain way, whenever you're going to do that, you're going to remind yourself, all right, so I'm changing this story, I'm changing this perception about them, not for them, I'm just doing it for myself. I'm showing myself love and respect. I'm making sure that I am not allowing any thought which is remotely close to something negative about me. That's why I'm doing this, because I'm not going to allow any negative thought about myself through any perception that my mind has about a person. So it's not about them. I might be saying he's interested in me or she's interested in me or money loves me, but I'm really just affirming for myself. Now, this is going to take your focus off of the person and the thing, yet at the same time maintaining a new story. At the same time, really just normalizing it and just making it about yourself makes it that much more easy, because now that you know that you're doing it for yourself, you're not gonna even look for any evidence just right away. You're gonna be focused on just giving yourself that love and respect that you know that you deserve. So to wrap this part of the equation up, because this is the most confusing part, and if you have any question, feel free to ask me those questions down in the comment section below. But just to wrap it up, just to give you a summary, whenever the thought of them is popping up, the old story of them is popping up, he or she is not interested in me, money doesn't come easy, you change that story first, you change that perception, no, he is interested in me, money loves me, money is flowing in my life, and then remind yourself that this is not really about them, this is about me. This thought about them says a lot about me than it says about them. So I'm not going to allow any negative thought about myself, because I love me. I love myself. Why would I do that to myself? And after doing that, just move on and just do your thing, work on whatever you were working on, and whenever it pops up again, do the same thing, repeat the same process. This way, you're not going to be hyper attached to any evidence that you might want to see in your reality, and you are also not going to be hyper attached to the person or the thing. All right, I hope this is making sense. All right, now the next part of the equation is doing it to show yourself love and respect, not to see any results. Now before you start doing this, what you're gonna do, you're gonna also just accept the fact that, you know what, I might not see movement right away, but it doesn't matter because I'm not doing it to see any evidence or anything else in my reality. I'm doing it to show myself love and respect. Because if you correctly do the first part of the equation, which is accepting that you're already worthy and loved, why would you allow any kind of disrespectful thoughts in your head about yourself? You wouldn't, right? And yes, I know you want to experience something in your reality. I know that. It's just to trick your mind. It's not to accept that it's not going to happen. It's just to trick your mind so that it can take its focus off of evidences. Just to trick your mind into focusing on you more than anything else. All right? This is the easiest way to not care about what is going on in your physical reality. All right? That's how I did it. It worked really, really well. If it's not making any sense, please leave a comment below down in the comment section. Now, the end part of this equation is going to confuse you even more, which is complete knowing and understanding as to how manifestation works. Now, that is not necessary if your why is strong enough and you're really sticking to that why, that, oh, I'm doing this to show myself love and respect and nothing else. Then you really don't have to have this knowing in you, but it helps because it relaxes you also, knowing that, all right, once I really genuinely change, I am going to see my reality change also, because that's going to happen. If you're following this equation correctly, you're going to shift into your new state of being. Your thoughts are going to change, your perception's going to change, your way is going to change, how you act, how you show up, everything's going to change. And yes, you're obviously going to see a change in your life and you're going to see your manifestation materialize itself. That's going to happen if you follow this correctly. So you don't have to have this knowing, but if you already know that's how manifestation works and it's just going to happen, it's just going to help you out that much more. But again, it's not necessary if, only if you are following each and every part of this equation correctly. So to wrap it up, to kind of give you a summary of this equation, this is just about making this practice about yourself rather than anybody else, rather than seeing anything in your physical reality, because that's when you actually become complete. That's when you actually, stop caring about anything or anybody else. And that's when you actually start to put the real work that you should be putting in, which is the real work is nothing but to show yourself love and respect, because you've been disrespecting yourself your whole life. What do I mean by that? Whenever you subconsciously or consciously say something like, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, however the way you do it, either you do it by telling a very specific story about a specific person, or either you directly disrespecting yourself by saying, I'm not worthy, you are the one who is pulling yourself down. Nobody else is. So the whole work is to actually coming back to your default setting, who you were born as at the core of your being. Not the distraction, not the illusion that you got from the society, but who you are actually at the core of your being. Is to just to return to that default setting. All right? So I'm gonna write this equation down in the comment section below. Ask me any question if you have any question, but if this made sense, then apply it, because this works wonders. I literally saw a change in just one day because my mind was totally focused on me and I made everything about myself. I made it about myself. Even when I was changing my thoughts about a person or a thing, I made it about myself. I was like, you know what? I might be having a thought about them, but it's really just saying or telling a story about me. So I really kind of got detached from the person also, while at the same time creating this new story in my head. So basically, it's all about just tricking your mind into believing. That's what we're doing here. So I hope this made sense. If it did, let me know. And if it didn't, just ask me questions, all right? I was not gonna give out this equation for free, by the way. I was like, oh my God, this is too precious. This is too big of a secret, but I just didn't want to gatekeep. I wanted to help you guys out. And I was just hesitant to make this video on this equation because, again, I don't know if it's gonna make sense to you or not, all right? But if you just apply this equation in every area of your life, you're gonna shift instantly. You're gonna get your results instantly. All right. So yeah, I hope you guys found this video helpful. And now I will see you guys in my next one.